10-minute drive from Northern Virginia into DC with your legal firearm in the car can become a serious criminal charge today. With the exact same gun you bought legally, the exact same permit you obtained through the proper process, the exact same firearm you carry every day in Virginia without any issue. That is not a scare tactic. That is the reality of living in the DMV. And it catches responsible, law-abiding gun owners off guard every single year in ways that permanently change their lives. What's up, everyone? I'm Pierre Prialet, your criminal defense attorney in Northern Virginia, and today we are going to break down the gun law map of this region, so you never end up in handcuffs for a firearm that was completely legal when you left your driveway. The DMV is genuinely one of the most complex gun law environments in the entire country. Within 15 miles, you have 3 completely independent jurisdictions with 3 completely different legal frameworks: Virginia, Maryland, and Washington, D.C. And layered over all 3 of them is federal law, which can operate independently of what any state or the district has decided. Understanding how those layers interact is not optional knowledge for gun owners in this region. It is the difference between exercising your rights safely and getting arrested. Let me start with 3 things. Gun owners in this region believe that are genuinely dangerous because they feel true and are not. The first, my Virginia carry permit is valid in Maryland and D.C. Wrong. Virginia has reciprocity with many states. Maryland does not recognize Virginia concealed carry permits. Washington, D.C. does not recognize permits from any other state. These are completely independent legal systems. What is legal in Virginia is not automatically legal 15 minutes away. The second, if it is legal in my state, I'm protected throughout my entire trip. Also wrong. The moment you cross a state line, the law governing your firearm changes completely. Your Virginia permit is a Virginia document. It gives you rights within Virginia. When you leave Virginia, you may leave the protection of that permit behind. The third, they can only stop me if I am doing something else wrong. Not necessarily. At a traffic stop in Maryland or D.C., if an officer has any lawful basis to ask about firearms, and you have one that your Virginia permit does not cover in that jurisdiction, the firearm being in the wrong place can become the offense. You do not need to be doing anything dramatic for the situation to become serious. Let me walk you through what the rules actually are in each jurisdiction so you understand exactly where you stand. Virginia is generally one of the more permissive firearm states in the region. Open carry is generally legal in Virginia without a permit for adults who can legally possess a firearm, subject to important location restrictions and exceptions. Concealed carry requires a concealed handgun permit, which generally requires being 21 or older, passing a background check, and meeting Virginia's handgun competence requirements. Virginia recognizes concealed handgun permits from other states. So many valid out-of-state permits can cover you in Virginia. In a vehicle with a valid concealed carry permit, you can have a loaded and accessible concealed handgun. Without a permit, Virginia law has specific exceptions, including for a handgun secured in a container or compartment within the vehicle, but this does not mean every firearm in every location inside a car is automatically legal. The exact way the firearm is carried matters. Maryland has some of the most restrictive gun laws in the region. The Maryland carry permit is significantly harder to obtain than Virginia's. Maryland also requires a handgun qualification license just to purchase a handgun. And most critically, Maryland does not recognize Virginia concealed carry permits. No reciprocity. If you have a Virginia permit and you are carrying a concealed firearm in Maryland, you are committing a Maryland crime. Full stop. The Virginia permit is legally worthless once you cross the state line going north. Washington, D.C. is the most restrictive jurisdiction in the DMV. Possessing a firearm in D.C. generally requires registration with the Metropolitan Police Department. Carrying outside your home requires a D.C.-issued concealed pistol license with specific requirements. D.C. recognizes no permits from any other state. Carrying in D.C. without a valid D.C. permit is a serious criminal offense. And beyond local rules, D.C. is saturated with federal property. The National Mall, federal buildings, parks and monuments administered by the National Park Service. On federal property, you may be subject to federal law, and federal law makes it a crime to possess a firearm in federal facilities, regardless of any local or state law. The combination of D.C. law and federal property density makes bringing a firearm into D.C. a serious legal risk for any Virginia gun owner who has not specifically obtained a D.C. permit and does not understand the exact restrictions that apply. Now let me give you the knowledge that can legally protect you when you have a legitimate reason to travel through jurisdictions where your Virginia permit is not recognized. The Firearms Owners Protection Act, known as FOPA, provides federal protection for transporting a firearm through states where you would not otherwise have the right to carry it, as long as specific rules are followed carefully throughout the trip. Rule 1. Your trip must start at a point where you can legally possess the firearm and end at a point where you can legally possess it. Both ends of the trip need to be legal destinations for you. Rule 2. The firearm must be unloaded. Rule 3. The firearm and ammunition must not be readily accessible from the passenger compartment. If the vehicle does not have a separate trunk, the firearm should be in a locked container other than the glove compartment or center console. Rule 4. Ammunition should be stored separately and in a way that is not readily accessible. The safest approach is to keep ammunition separate from the firearm and away from the passenger area. If those conditions are met throughout the trip, FOPA may provide federal protection for transporting through states like Maryland, even without a Maryland permit. Here is the example that shows exactly why the details matter. A driver leaves Richmond, Virginia heading to Delaware, passing through Maryland on the I-95. Firearm unloaded, locked in a case in the trunk, ammunition separate and not readily accessible. FOPA may protect that transport through Maryland. But if that same driver stops in Maryland and the firearm is in the center console loaded, the FOPA protection is no longer the situation you are relying on. FOPA is about transportation, not carrying. The moment you meaningfully deviate from lawful transport or the firearm is not in strict compliance with the transport rules, the protection can be challenged. Even with a valid Virginia concealed carry permit and operating entirely within Virginia, there are specific locations where carrying may be prohibited or restricted. Federal buildings of any kind, including post offices, VA facilities, federal courthouses, and any building owned or leased by the federal government. School zones under federal and state law. Courthouses and certain government buildings. Certain public spaces or events where local restrictions may apply. Private property where firearms are prohibited by the property owner. And anywhere federal law applies independently of Virginia law. Two situations from practice that make this concrete. The first is a man from Fairfax County who drove to visit a friend in a Maryland suburb. He had his legally owned firearm under his seat as always. Valid Virginia concealed carry permit. He crossed into Maryland and was stopped for a minor traffic infraction. He explained his Virginia permit to the officer. The officer explained that Virginia permits are not valid in Maryland. He was arrested for carrying a handgun without a Maryland permit. That is a serious criminal charge with potential prison time. His Virginia permit, which gave him complete legal authority at his house in Fairfax, meant absolutely nothing 15 miles away. The second is someone who drove into DC with a firearm that was completely legal in Virginia, with no understanding that DC operates under entirely different rules. DC police became aware of the firearm. DC charges resulted. DC prosecutes firearms violations aggressively. The consequences were severe. And none of it would have happened if he had simply known to leave the firearm at home before crossing the Potomac. Let me answer the questions I get most often from Northern Virginia gun owners about these rules. People ask, I have a Virginia concealed carry permit. Can I carry in DC at all? For practical purposes, in almost all situations, no. DC does not recognize Virginia permits. You need a DC-issued concealed pistol license to lawfully carry in the city. Without one, do not bring a firearm into DC. People ask, what if I genuinely did not know I crossed into Maryland? Ignorance of the law is not a legal defense to a firearms charge. Not knowing you entered Maryland, not knowing the rules changed, does not eliminate the criminal liability. In the DMV, knowing where the state lines are is part of responsible gun ownership. People ask, can I drive through DC without stopping if I follow the FOPA rules? DC presents a uniquely complex situation because of federal property density and DC-specific law. The safest approach for any Virginia gun owner is to avoid bringing a firearm into DC entirely unless you have specific legal guidance about your exact route and situation. People ask, I was charged with a firearms offense in Northern Virginia. What do I do right now? Contact Right Path Law Group immediately. Make no additional statements to law enforcement. Say nothing about the situation publicly. The sooner an attorney is on your case, the more options are available to you. Crossing the DMV border with the wrong understanding of the law is the most common mistake of responsible gun owners in this region. Not criminals, responsible people who bought their firearms legally, obtained their permits, and genuinely believed they were in full compliance. 3 jurisdictions, 3 completely different legal frameworks, federal law layered over all of them, and state lines that are minutes apart on a regular commute. The gap between what people think is legal and what actually is legal in every specific location in this region is enormous, and that gap has real consequences. At Right Path Law Group, we have been practicing criminal defense in Northern Virginia for over 15 years. We know these laws, we know these courts, and we know how to defend people who own their firearms legally and responsibly and found themselves in a situation they never anticipated. Call us today at 703-722-8044 or visit us at rightpathlaw.com. Stay informed. Protect your freedom.